7,641 islands, scattered across waters so vast, it would take a lifetime to visit them all. But what if I told you that every paradise beach, every impossible limestone cliff, every turquoise lagoon you've ever seen from the Philippines was born from Earth's most violent forces? Researchers have discovered something extraordinary. The Philippines sits on the Ring of Fire's most active section, where 4 tectonic plates collide with unimaginable force. 22 active volcanoes, 200 volcanic earthquakes every single day. This should be a wasteland of destruction. Instead, nature performed its greatest magic trick. These violent forces didn't destroy. They created marvels. Every explosion, every earthquake, every eruption sculpted what scientists now call the most biodiverse waters on Earth. The Philippines isn't just another tropical destination, it's a living laboratory where Earth continues to forge paradise from fire. What you're about to discover will completely transform how you see these islands. From chocolate hills that shouldn't exist according to geology, to underground rivers that defy explanation, to reefs that house more species than the Amazon rainforest. Travelers who understand these secrets report they can never look at paradise the same way again. But to understand how these forces sculpted paradise, we must start with Earth's most inexplicable creation, formations so bizarre that when Spanish colonizers first saw them, they refused to believe their eyes. Somewhere in the heart of the Philippines, nature left its most confounding signature. Let me take you to Bohol, where the impossible became landscape. In the heart of Bohol, Earth keeps a secret that has baffled geologists for over a century. 1,268 perfect domes rise from the ground, so uniform that ancient peoples believed giants had waged war here, their tears forming these mysterious mounds. But what researchers discovered was even stranger than mythology. These formations shouldn't exist, not according to any known geological process. The Chocolate Hills, named for their transformation from emerald green to cocoa brown each dry season, represent a phenomenon found nowhere else on Earth at this scale. Marine geologists recently uncovered evidence that changes everything. 2 million years ago, this entire region lay beneath the sea. Coral reefs grew, died, and accumulated for millennia. Then tectonic forces thrust the ocean floor skyward. But that explains limestone plateaus, not perfect domes. The breakthrough came when researchers analyzed the hill's unique composition. Unlike typical limestone, these formations contain a rare combination of marine fossils and clay that reacts differently to rainfall. Over thousands of years, a process scientists call solution weathering carved these domes with mathematical precision that seems almost intentional. Local Ati tribes have protected this knowledge for generations. Their oral histories speak of the hills as sleeping guardians, formations that hold spiritual energy. Modern instruments have detected unusual magnetic anomalies within certain hills, phenomena that science still can't fully explain. Travelers who witness the hill's transformation at dawn report an almost mystical experience. As sunlight creeps across the landscape, each dome catches fire with golden light, creating a vista that photographers describe as Earth's most surreal canvas. UNESCO recognized these formations as a global geopark, acknowledging that the Chocolate Hills represent something beyond human understanding. But if these terrestrial mysteries captivate scientists, wait until you discover what lies beneath the Philippines' surface. In northern Palawan, geologists discovered something that defies every rule of island formation. Towering limestone cliffs don't just surround the ocean, they trap it. Coron Island harbors 11 lakes suspended within jagged peaks, each one a different temperature, each one a different shade of blue, each one connected by underwater tunnels that shouldn't exist. Kayangan Lake stunned researchers when they discovered its waters are 70% freshwater, floating atop 30% seawater. A phenomenon called stratification that creates two distinct worlds in one lake. The freshwater lens, crystal clear and warm, sits perfectly above the cold saltwater layer. Swimmers report the surreal sensation of passing through an invisible barrier, where temperature drops 10 degrees in an instant. But the real mystery lies in Barracuda Lake. Thermocline layers here create something impossible. Water temperatures that shift from tropical to volcanic without warning. At the surface, 28 degrees Celsius. At 4 meters, 38 degrees. At 14 meters, back to 28. Then suddenly, at the bottom, 41 degrees, hot enough to cook an egg. Geothermal vents hidden in limestone crevices create this thermal chaos that marine biologists call nature's most complex swimming pool. The Banaue people, indigenous guardians of these waters, knew these lakes held power long before science could explain it. They speak of lakes that heal, lakes that curse, and lakes that reveal the future. Modern analysis shows they weren't entirely wrong. The mineral composition in Twin Lagoon contains therapeutic levels of magnesium and calcium that rival world-famous spa destinations. Marine archaeologists using sonar discovered that these lakes hide World War II history. Japanese supply ships, sunk by American forces, rest perfectly preserved in the oxygen-poor depths. The wrecks have become artificial reefs so pristine that coral growth on them exceeds natural reef development by 200%. 12 Japanese vessels created an underwater museum that nature transformed into thriving ecosystems. Scientists recently traced the underground connections between lakes using fluorescent dyes. The results shocked everyone. All 11 lakes connect through a labyrinth of submerged passages, essentially making Coron Island hollow. This limestone Swiss cheese shouldn't be stable, yet it has stood for 2 million years. But if these hidden waters show nature's secret sanctuaries, the next destination reveals what happens when paradise faces Earth's most violent forces. At the Philippines' northernmost edge, where typhoons are born and Pacific swells reach 30 feet, researchers found islands that shouldn't be habitable. Batanes exists in the corridor of the world's most violent weather systems. Yet somehow, these 10 islands became paradise perfected. Anthropologists discovered something remarkable. The Ivatan people didn't just survive here, they thrived for 4,000 years. Their stone houses, built without mortar, withstand winds that would demolish modern structures. These architectural marvels use a technique called vacuum resistance, where rounded walls force typhoon winds to flow around rather than through buildings. Batanes breaks every rule of tropical geography. These landscapes belong in Ireland or New Zealand, not 20 degrees from the equator. Meteorologists identified the cause. Cold currents from Japan collide with tropical air masses here, creating a microclimate found nowhere else in Southeast Asia. The result? Eternal spring in the typhoon belt. The famous Marlborough Hills reveal nature's artistic side. Volcanic activity 3 million years ago created these rolling meadows, but wind became the sculptor. Researchers measured sustained winds of 40 miles per hour on calm days. Over millennia, these forces carved valleys so perfect, they appear designed by landscape architects. Marine biologists studying Batanes waters made an astounding discovery. The violent currents that isolate these islands also created one of Earth's most pristine marine ecosystems. Fish species here grow 30% larger than their cousins elsewhere, a phenomenon scientists attribute to nutrient upwelling from deep Pacific trenches. The Ivatan people possess navigation knowledge that modern science is only beginning to understand. They read cloud formations to predict weather 72 hours in advance, accuracy that matches satellite technology. Their understanding of wave patterns allows them to navigate when GPS fails. But if Batanes shows nature's raw power, the next destination reveals its hidden gentleness. Before Siargao became surfing's worst-kept secret, marine geologists discovered something that redefined our understanding of island formation. Hidden behind limestone cliffs and accessible only through passages so narrow boats must wait for low tide, exist lagoons that shouldn't be this perfect. The Sohoton Cove system harbors Earth's most unusual aquatic phenomenon. Millions of jellyfish lost their ability to sting. Scientists discovered these creatures evolved in isolation for 12,000 years after rising sea levels trapped them in landlocked lagoons. Without predators, they abandoned their defense mechanisms, creating the only place on Earth where humans can swim through clouds of jellyfish. Researchers using satellite imaging identified 17 hidden lagoons across Siargao, each with water so clear that boats appear to float in mid-air. The secret lies in limestone filtration. Rainwater takes 50 years to filter through the porous rock, emerging purified to a degree that exceeds laboratory standards. These natural pools maintain a constant temperature of 26 degrees Celsius year-round. After dark, these lagoons transform into nature's light show. Bioluminescent dinoflagellates, microscopic organisms that emit blue light when disturbed, turn every movement into trails of stars. Marine biologists discovered concentrations here exceed those of the famous bioluminescent bays in Puerto Rico by 300%. Indigenous Mamanwa peoples protected these locations for centuries, understanding their ecological importance before science could explain it. These lagoons serve as nurseries for 70% of Siargao's reef fish. Without them, the entire marine ecosystem would collapse within a decade. Cave divers recently discovered underwater connections between lagoons, creating a network spanning 15 kilometers. Some passages lead to air-filled chambers, where prehistoric cave paintings suggest ancient peoples used these hidden spaces for sacred ceremonies. The paintings depict creatures that paleontologists believe went extinct 8,000 years ago. If these peaceful waters amaze, the next destination shows nature's geometric perfection in volcanic form. Volcanologists call it impossible, a volcanic cone so geometrically perfect that Japanese engineers used its measurements to design Mount Fuji's tourist infrastructure. Mount Mayon rises 2,463 meters, with slopes maintaining exactly 40 degrees on all sides, precision that defies geological chaos. Scientists discovered Mayon's secret through revolutionary dating techniques. This volcano rebuilds itself every eruption. With lava flows so consistent, they maintain the cone's perfect symmetry. 51 eruptions in 400 years, each one a mathematical masterpiece of destruction and creation. No other volcano on Earth displays this behavior. Recent thermal imaging revealed why Mayon achieves perfection. Unlike typical volcanoes with multiple magma chambers, Mayon has one central channel rising directly from Earth's mantle. This creates uniform pressure, producing eruptions that spread lava equally in all directions. Geophysicists compare it to Earth's most precise 3D printer. The 1814 eruption buried entire towns, leaving only Kagsawa Church's bell tower visible, a haunting monument to Mayon's power. Yet archaeological excavations revealed something unexpected. Volcanic ash from Mayon contains minerals that create the Philippines' most fertile soil. Farmers harvest 3 rice crops annually in Mayon's shadow, yields impossible elsewhere. Photographers have documented a phenomenon that shouldn't occur: volcanic lightning that strikes upward. When Mayon erupts, ash particles create such intense electrical fields that lightning bolts shoot from the crater toward space. NASA satellites detected these discharges affecting Earth's ionosphere, briefly disrupting radio communications across Southeast Asia. Bicolano peoples don't flee Mayon, they worship it. Their mythology describes Mayon as Daragang Magayan, a beautiful maiden transformed into the volcano. Modern psychologists studying disaster resilience discovered these communities recover from eruptions faster than any documented population, attributing this to their spiritual connection with the volcano. From fire above to wonders below, the next destination exists in perpetual darkness, yet houses more life than rainforests. "150 kilometers from the nearest land, in the Sulu Sea's heart, marine biologists discovered Earth's most concentrated explosion of life. Tubbataha Reef's natural park spans just 97,030 hectares, smaller than Los Angeles, yet contains more species than the entire Caribbean Sea. Scientists documented something that shouldn't be possible: 600 fish species, 360 coral species, 11 shark species, 13 dolphin and whale species, and 100 species found nowhere else on Earth, all thriving in an area marine biologists say is too small to sustain such diversity. The explanation lies 3,000 feet below. Tubbataha's atolls sit atop extinct underwater volcanoes, creating vertical walls that plunge into oceanic trenches. These walls generate upwelling currents that deliver nutrients from the deep sea directly to shallow reefs. It's essentially an underwater elevator system feeding the entire ecosystem. Researchers using satellite tags made a discovery that rewrote marine biology textbooks. Tubbataha serves as a navigation beacon for migratory species. Sharks, rays, and whales travel thousands of kilometers to reach these reefs, using magnetic signatures in the volcanic rock for guidance. Some animals return to exact locations year after year with GPS-level precision. Climate scientists studying Tubbataha uncovered nature's resilient secret. While global coral bleaching devastates reefs worldwide, Tubbataha's corals display unusual resistance. Genetic analysis revealed these corals evolved unique heat-resistant proteins. Researchers now cultivate Tubbataha coral strains to save dying reefs globally. The isolation that protects Tubbataha also makes it irreplaceable. Marine ecologists calculate that these reefs seed 40% of the coral triangle's fish populations. If Tubbataha disappeared, the cascading collapse would affect marine ecosystems from Indonesia to Papua New Guinea, one tiny atoll system sustaining half the Pacific's biodiversity. But on our next destination, above water, human hands carved something equally impossible into mountain faces. "2,000 years ago, the Ifugao people began carving something that modern engineers call impossible without machinery. The Banaue rice terraces stretch over 10,000 square kilometers of mountain slopes, their combined steps reaching 20,000 kilometers, enough to circle Earth's equator halfway. Hydraulic engineers studying the terraces discovered a water management system that surpasses modern technology. Using only bamboo and carved stones, the Ifugao created irrigation channels that maintain perfect water flow across thousands of levels. Each terrace receives exactly the water it needs. No more, no less, through gravity-fed systems that haven't failed in 2 millennia. Agricultural scientists detected something remarkable. These terraces create distinct microclimates on each level. Temperature variations of up to 5 degrees between terraces allow farmers to grow different rice varieties at different altitudes, essentially creating vertical biodiversity that maximizes yields while preserving ancient seed varieties extinct elsewhere. The Ifugao possess agricultural knowledge that science is only beginning to understand. They practice lunar planting, timing cultivation with moon phases. Researchers initially dismissed this as superstition until soil analysis proved that lunar gravitational effects on groundwater significantly impact germination rates. The Ifugao knew this centuries before science could explain it. Geologists calculate these terraces prevent 10 million tons of soil erosion annually. Without them, the entire Cordillera mountain range would destabilize, causing catastrophic landslides. The terraces aren't just farms, they're the glue holding mountains together. Yet UNESCO reports that abandonment threatens 50% of terraces as younger generations migrate to cities. Anthropologists documented something profound. The Ifugao language contains no word for art because they don't separate beauty from function. Every carved step, every water channel, every stone wall serves dual purposes, practical and spiritual. These terraces aren't just agricultural marvels, they're Earth's largest continuous artwork, painted with rice instead of paint. From mountain heights to jungle depths, the next wonder flows with waters that defy nature's color palette. Hidden in Cebu's jungle interior, hydrologists discovered waterfalls that shouldn't be this blue. Kawasan Falls waters glow with a turquoise intensity that photographers insist must be digitally enhanced. But the color is real, and the science behind it revolutionizes our understanding of water chemistry. Researchers identified the phenomenon's source. Spring waters originating from Mantalongon mountain range flow through kilometers of limestone caverns, collecting microscopic calcite crystals. These particles remain suspended in the water, refracting sunlight to create blue wavelengths so pure that spectral analysis shows colors beyond normal human perception. The three-tiered cascade system creates natural infinity pools that maintain exact temperatures year-round, 18 degrees Celsius. Thermal studies revealed why. Underground springs feed the falls from aquifers so deep they're unaffected by surface temperature changes. This constant cool water in tropical heat creates microclimates where temperate plant species grow at sea level. Adventure seekers canyoneering upstream discovered Kawasan's hidden network extends 15 kilometers through slot canyons. Some passages narrow to shoulder width with walls rising 40 meters. Geologists dated these formations to 3 million years ago when tectonic uplift fractured the limestone, creating vertical mazes that water carved into smooth chutes. Indigenous communities protected these waters for generations through a taboo system. Fishing was forbidden except during specific ceremonies. Marine biologists discovered this traditional management allowed endemic species to flourish. The Kawasan goby, a fish found nowhere else, developed the ability to climb waterfalls using modified fins. Evolution visible in real time. After dark, certain pools exhibit green luminescence. Scientists identified bioluminescent algae that absorbed minerals from the limestone, enhancing their light-producing capabilities. Local legends speak of emerald spirits in the water, a prescient description of microscopic life that science only recently confirmed. But if Kawasan's colors seem supernatural, the next destination's waters hide mysteries that science still can't explain. On Mindanao's eastern coast, oceanographers encountered a river that defies every law of hydrology. The Hinatuan Enchanted River maintains a depth that technical divers haven't reached, water clarity that exceeds distilled standards, and a blue color that changes hues without explanation. Multiple diving expeditions using mixed gases attempted to find the bottom. At 60 meters, divers discovered a cave system extending horizontally beyond sonar range. Remote underwater vehicles detected passages continuing beyond their 200-meter operational depth. The river isn't a river, it's an underground ocean breaking through Earth's surface. Marine biologists documented an impossible phenomenon. Schools of fish appear at precisely noon, seemingly from nowhere, then vanish at sunset. Tracking devices attached to fish malfunction upon entering certain depths. Electromagnetic readings show anomalies that interfere with electronic equipment, creating dead zones where modern technology fails. The river's color shifts fascinate physicists. Without warning, water transforms from sapphire to jade to crystal clear. Spectrographic analysis detected no chemical changes during color shifts. One theory suggests underground chambers release different mineral compositions, but the timing appears random, defying geological patterns. Surreal on oral histories describe the river as a portal between worlds. Elders speak of ancestors who entered the waters and emerged with knowledge of future events. While science dismisses prophetic claims, psychological studies confirmed that swimmers experience altered states of consciousness, possibly due to unique mineral compositions affecting neurotransmitter function. Water clarity measurements exceed theoretical limits. Visibility reaches 50 meters, clearer than swimming pools. Chemists discovered the water contains natural clarifying agents from underground limestone filtration, but concentrations suggest a filtration system larger than any known cave network. The river essentially drinks from Earth's largest natural water purification plant. Yet even these bottomless mysteries pale compared to what one tiny island achieved, the resurrection of paradise itself. "700 meters long, an island so small you can walk its circumference in 20 minutes. Yet marine biologists call Apo Island the single most important conservation success story in human history. What happened here reversed ecological collapse and created a blueprint that's saving oceans worldwide. "40 years ago, Apo Island's reefs were dead. Dynamite fishing had turned coral gardens into underwater graveyards. Fish populations dropped 90%. Scientists declared the ecosystem irreversibly destroyed. The 700 residents faced starvation as their only food source vanished. Then in 1982, marine biologist Angel Alcala attempted something everyone said was impossible: resurrection of a dead reef. Working with Apo's fishing families, they established something revolutionary, a no-take sanctuary covering just 11% of the reef. Critics called it suicide. How could protecting such a tiny area save anything? What happened next defied every prediction. Within 5 years, fish populations inside the sanctuary increased by 400%. But here's where it gets extraordinary. The fish didn't stay inside. Scientists documented spillover effect for the first time. Fish bred in the sanctuary and their offspring repopulated the entire island's waters. The protected 11% saved the other 89%. Today, researchers document biodiversity that exceeds historical records. 650 fish species, 400 coral species. Sea turtles nest on beaches where they hadn't been seen for decades. The island's famous jackfish tornado, thousands of fish forming perfect spirals, draws photographers worldwide. Nature didn't just recover, it surpassed its original state. Apo Island became the template for 7,000 marine protected areas globally. From the Caribbean to the Red Sea, communities replicate Apo's model. Marine ecologists calculate that Apo Island's 11 hectares of protected reef have indirectly saved over 1 million hectares of ocean worldwide. Sometimes the smallest places create the biggest waves of change. And this resurrection story reveals the ultimate truth about the Philippines. You've just witnessed something remarkable. 7,641 islands that shouldn't exist in their current form. Each one a testament to Earth's power to transform violence into beauty, chaos into perfection, destruction into creation, and even death into resurrection. Scientists now understand that the Philippines represents Earth's greatest experiment in creative destruction, where 4 tectonic plates collide with unimaginable force, where volcanoes erupt with clockwork regularity, where typhoons strike with civilization-ending power. Nature chose to build paradise, not in spite of these forces, but because of them. Consider what you've discovered. The Chocolate Hills exist because ancient seas rose to become mountains. Batanes thrives where typhoons are born. Siargao's lagoons trap jellyfish until they forget how to sting. Mayon maintains geometric perfection through destruction. Tubbataha reefs concentrate more life than seems possible. The rice terraces hold mountains together while feeding millions. Kawasan Falls glow with minerals from Earth's depths. Hinatuan River connects to mysteries we haven't begun to understand. And Apo Island proved that paradise can resurrect from death itself. But here's the transformation that matters most. Every location you've witnessed isn't just a geological marvel. It's home to communities who've learned to dance with Earth's most powerful forces. The Ivatan, who read typhoons like books. The Afugo, who carved mountains into staircases. The Bicolanos, who worship the volcano that regularly destroys their homes. And the Apo Islanders, who brought dead reefs back to life. These peoples don't just survive, they've achieved harmony with forces that would break most civilizations. Marine biologists project that rising seas will reshape these islands within our lifetime. Some will disappear, others will be born. The Philippines will transform again, as it has for millions of years. But Apo Island's resurrection proves something crucial. When humans work with nature's forces instead of against them, miracles become possible. You're now among the few who know the Philippines' true secret. Every beach you walk, every mountain you climb, every reef you swim above, exists because Earth decided to turn its most violent forces into its most beautiful creations. And when those creations died, human determination brought them back to life. The Philippines isn't just a place you visit. It's Earth showing you what becomes possible when chaos transforms into paradise, and paradise refuses to surrender.